Rachel, I feel like I have a very bad case of whiplash where we're told, on the campaign trail, President Trump, where's your plan? You don't have one. I've got one. Then there is no federal government response. And then there's cleanup on aisle 5 with the White House Twitter feed, the chief of staff, and finally President Biden saying he now has a federal plan. It's just all head spinning.
Yeah, it's very schizophrenic. And what's interesting to me is that the latest thing, where he says, no, I really do have a federal plan, came in the form of a tweet. Well, what do you and I know about Joe Biden? He's very old and he's not tweeting. So somebody else is tweeting this. And that means that, we, first of all, it begs the question, who's in charge? And we have a right to ask that question. Is it his staff? Is there a cabal of, Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice and Obama people doing it? Who is in charge? We ought to know that. And 2, look, I don't blame him for Omicron. I blame him for not having the test. But the fact is, this is a virus. It spreads. Everyone's going to get it. And the fact is that this administration refuses to acknowledge some basic facts that we have now learned over 2 years. There are natural immunities. We now know with Omicron there are some breakthroughs, even with natural immunity, but especially with the vax. The vax are the ones getting Omicron and spreading it the most. So this, vax solution for everything is actually living in another era. We need to move forward. This administration is caught flat-footed, and you're right about one thing, Kayleigh. He criticized the Trump administration for not having tests when this thing first started, and nobody should have expected the Trump administration to magically come up with a bunch of tests. But he was given a plan in October. He was told to order them, and he decided not to, and no one understands why, and he should be asked to respond to that. Why did you not want to have tests when you knew this variant was on its way?
Exactly. Molly, he was given, President Biden, by President Trump, the most advanced testing system in the world. This was a novel virus. There were no tests when President Trump inherited this. When he got COVID-19, in the United States, coming over from China, there were no tests. He developed more tests, administered more tests than Western Europe combined by last fall. That is impressive. Why didn't President Biden keep it up?
Well, it's really important, I think, to go back and think about what last year was like the year before President Biden was made president. And you look at what happened when this pandemic hits the world. The Trump administration does a bunch of stuff that they should have done better, but on the big stuff, they got everything right, namely developing these vaccines, overcoming the bureaucratic hurdles to get those vaccines. And by the time President Biden is inaugurated, he has all the tools he needs. And this is important because he claimed that the reason why you had to vote for him was because he had some magical, mysterious plan to take care of the global pandemic. And in the end, it's been a year. He's done literally nothing other than use the vaccines that the Trump administration developed, use the protocols and the plans and the procedures and the testing regime and whatnot that the Trump administration developed, and he's done nothing else. And the situation is so much worse than it was when he took office. And again, the entire case for his presidency was that he had this plan and he was going to squash the virus. He's done nothing.
He's done nothing, Tommy. And then governors are rightfully saying, hey, there's no federal response, therefore there are no federal mandates. But Joe Biden decides to go take a walk on the beach with his new puppy. Reporters managed to shout a few questions at him, one of which is, will you require vaccination in order to have domestic air travel? It seems like it should be a pretty simple answer. No, I'm not going to discriminate on who can travel domestically, vaccinated versus unvaccinated, but not so fast. President Biden did not shut down the idea. Let's roll the tape.
Here, please. Not past here, please. Thanks, guys.
Stunning. More mandates, Tommy.
More mandates from the man who says he has no federal solution, but he wants to bully the rest of us into compliance for yet another year and a half. How long? But when we're talking about governors standing up, that's exactly what they need to do, and there need to be more, especially those with R's behind their name. They all need to stand up and speak truth to power, especially to this administration that has admitted it has no plan. But when we're talking about these vaccine mandates, I think that that's where most Americans are so frustrated. We know that getting the vaccine, 1, 2, 3 vaccines, does not prevent you from getting Omicron Omicron or any of the variants, and it doesn't prevent you from spreading it. A vaccine is personal. It's to lessen your symptoms and to increase your chances of survival, which we know that the mortality rates are very low for Omicron, as we've seen so far. So it's a personal protection. This is another instance of the government coming in as the nanny state and telling you what you should do for your personal health. Every time they try to slam the unvaccinated for being selfish, it makes no sense, because getting the vaccine does not keep you from passing it to somebody else. So it's about personal protection. We need to get that straight. But I also have another theory in why the testing was not expanded when it should have been, because I think we can all agree we need more tests. I believe, and this is my personal belief, that the Biden administration and the folks on his medical team didn't want to expand the testing because they didn't want to show that the vaccinated were still getting and giving COVID. I think that they thought that that would discourage vaccines, so they wanted to lessen the tests or maybe not get as many as they should have, because they didn't want people to realize, oh boy, maybe this vaccine is not foolproof. Again, that is my personal belief. But when you talk about advising his medical team, we all know that he needs advisors. We all know we need to listen to scientists. But I don't ever remember electing Dr. Fauci to run my country. But it seems like he is. And a lot of Americans, including myself, have a real problem with that.
Yeah, it's a very scary prospect, Dr. Fauci running the country, but I agree totally. It seems like he is at times. Brian, public health and confidence in public, science, our institutions, the CDC, HHS, it's really important. But when you look at all of this in aggregate, when you see Biden from a policy standpoint flipping between I have no plan, I have a plan, and then you look over at the science and Dr. Fauci, to give an example, says no mask and then admits he said no mask at the beginning of the pandemic because he needed to save them for healthcare workers. And then he goes to one mask, then two masks, then no mask if vaxxed, then back to one mask. No wonder people are lacking faith in the science and Dr. Fauci.
It's the tyranny of nonsense. This is impossible to navigate. If you are a business, if you are a family, if you are a parent and you're trying to figure out what does living life look like going forward, this president is resoundingly unhelpful. He got it right on Monday. He was right on Monday. There is no federal solution. This has to be handled at a state and a local level. But on Tuesday, his political handlers got a hold of him and they said, Mr. President, we can't do it that way because it violates all of your promises that, once again, never made sense. If we're going to get out of this, we got to get out from under the nonsense. And right now, it is a noxious cloud hanging over everything happening in this country.
It is. And Rachel, Brian makes the point, he got it right Tuesday, that there was no federal plan. And you make the point that we know he doesn't run his own Twitter or come up with his own independent ideas. So do you think Tuesday was just a rare, candid admission of the truth?
Yeah, I think he does have a few lucid moments, and I think he threw his hands up. Look, there could also have been a little bit of pass the buck, let the governors take the blame for why this is spreading. But also, he's on the beach wearing a mask outdoors with his wife. Are they wearing that in the bedroom? Because if they have to wear it outside on the beach with the dog, it's just, he sends so many mixed messages. It doesn't make any sense. And again, this is the moment to talk about natural immunity, about early treatments, about other forms of saving people besides the vaccine, because now we know the vaccine is not going to protect you. It doesn't matter if you have 1, 2, or 4 jabs. You can still get Omicron, and it looks like they're the ones spreading it the most right now.